Bye, babe. Well, buddy, it's just me and you for the next week. What are we going to do? What? Only 8 hours? It's gonna be a long week, buddy. Come on, let's go for a walk. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Zeke. I normally would have my wife next to me right now. Her name is Precious, but she is back in the US for the week handling some family business. So it's just me and Maverick chilling at the house. So I thought it was the perfect time to talk about how we brought Maverick from the US to Mexico. Now, we've had a couple of people ask us how this was done, so I want to break it down so it can be a little bit more easier for you to be able to bring your dog to Mexico or even to a different country if you want to. So the first step to bringing your dog outside of the country is knowing what country you're going to go to. So obviously for us, that was Mexico. And then once you know that, you go to your veterinarian. Our veterinarian was at PetSmart, so we were able to go straight to her and ask her, hey, we need to get Maverick to Mexico. What type of documents do we need? How does that work? And so from there, she was able to give him a health certificate. And what this health certificate does, it basically tells the airline and also immigration when you go through in Mexico that your dog has all of the proper shots. Make sure really that they don't have rabies as well too. Some airlines won't even let you fly without having a health certificate for your dog. So really research. That is the main thing. You need to know what country you're going to, and then you need to find out the requirements for that country for your pet. So for Mexico, it was pretty lax. He just had to have his health certificate saying that he was up to date on his shots and he didn't have any rabies or anything like that, because they don't want to bring dogs here that have rabies. That was really the only thing that we pretty much needed. So diving deeper into the health certificate, basically what this health certificate is that it has the dog's name, their color, their weight, their height, all of the main basic health requirements, but that is sort of like their identification for the other country as well too. So for instance, if your dog gets lost or if something's wrong with them, you need to take them to a vet and they're not from that country, they have a specific identification for your dog. So that really is helpful as well too. And many countries will need that. And even if they don't, I would suggest you getting it anyway, just so you have that extra layer of protection. Now, a couple of pro tips with this. I would suggest that you make copies of this when you get it, just like with any important document when you're going outside of the US, just to make sure that you have extra copies in case one gets lost or messed up or anything like that. It's really important to make copies of this document, especially when it comes to your pet. Now, the dog certificate normally lasts for about 30 days of your travel, starting at the day that you arrive in the country. Now, if you want to, of course, stay for longer, you need to get one in the country that you're in to go back to the country you were originally from or a different country. For instance, we left in June. So ours started on the day that we left in June, and it gives us 30 days, for instance, if we were going on vacation with him. But we came to Merida to live, so if we ever wanted to go back to the US or go to a different country, we would need to get another health certificate because that 30 days would have passed since then. So the next step is getting your pet onto an airplane. So we flew Aeromexico from Houston to Merida. So with this particular airline, there were a couple of requirements that may not have been for other airlines. So really the main thing is that you need to check and see what airline you're flying with. Make sure that they accept pets and then see what their pet requirements are. are. So for Aeromexico, their pet requirements were to have that health certificate I was talking about earlier. And if he was going to be in the cabin with us, which we did want him to be in the cabin with us, he had to have a certain requirement for his pet carrier. So the pet carrier that we decided to do is like a pet carrier / backpack, and it's really, really cool. I'll put the link for it in the description below. It's really important to make sure that your pet carrier that you choose matches the requirements the airline gives. So I would definitely just make sure that you are following all of the requirements, so that way they won't try to turn your pet away and your flight will be delayed. You have to go get another one. So we were very, very careful to make sure that we got a pet carrier with the exact requirements that was needed. Now, here's a pro tip as well too. I would go against getting the hard carriers. I would get the soft carriers as well too, because when you're traveling with your pet, they have to go underneath the seat. And sometimes the seat may be a little bit lower than normal or a little bit higher than normal. It really just depends on the airline. So to alleviate that, I would make sure to get the soft one. So just in case you need to squeeze it underneath there a little bit and have sort of a snug fit, it'll be okay, because you can't do that with a hard top one. A hard top one, it's not going to give you any type of give and take. If it's hard, it's just there. So we got him this specialized one, which Precious loves so much, because it's actually good for walking around the city as well too. When he doesn't want to walk, we'll just put him on our backs and walk through the city. So that one was a really, really good one to get. So then after that, there's still a couple more things that you need to do to make sure that your pet flight goes as smoothly as possible. So for us, this was Maverick's first time ever being outside of the country, ever being on a plane. So we were a little bit worried about how he would react on the airplane. So we made sure to talk to our veterinarian about it, see what can be done, and these are the tips that she gave us. So number one would be to make sure that you pack things in your pet carrier that your pet will like. So for instance, this is Maverick's comfort toy. He loves it so much. I don't even know what it is, what it's called, but he likes biting on it and it feels good to his gums and it gives him comfort. So I made sure that this was in the same pet carrier as him. So if he had a little bit of anxiety or anything like that, he would be able to use this, and hopefully that would help his anxiety. So number two, it's important to pack collapsible dog bowls, because say for instance you have a long layover, or if you're just waiting for your plane, a collapsible dog bowl is really, really cool, because most pet carriers have a pocket. So we put ours in the side of the pet carrier pocket, and when we were at the airport, we were able to get him water, and we had a little baggie of food for him as well too. So that was really, really helpful for us. I've also put a link in the description for a couple of options that you can get from Amazon, so hopefully you'll find one that you like. Now, step 3 was a little weird when the vet told me, but the more she explained it, made sense. She said that a couple hours before the flight, you need to deny your dog food. And at first I was questioning it, but the way she explained it was that when a dog has never been on an airplane before, just like us, when our ears pop and, you know, some people will have gas and things like that, the same thing happens to a dog. So especially with this being Maverick's first time, that we were supposed to deny him food for about 4 to 6 hours before the flight. And then we could feed him on the flight if we wanted to, or feed him directly when we land. That worked pretty well for Maverick. He loved the flight. The flight attendants loved him. They would stop by and come say hi to him. And because our dog is very, very nosy, he wanted to look out the window. So that's another thing as well too. While you are on the flight with the dog, normally they're not allowed to come out of their carriers, but it really depends on how lax the flight attendants are. When they saw Maverick, he was the only dog on the flight, and they sort of saw him earlier when they were boarding the plane. He was playing with the other kids while we were waiting. So they let him stick his head out of his pet carrier and look around the plane and look out the window. And that was really helpful for him as well too, because Maverick likes to see things and he likes to be aware and be able to view things. So if he wasn't able to do that, it probably would have been a little bit more harder for him, and he would have been a lot more anxious on the airplane. So another tip would be to make sure that you take advantage of the rest areas. So maybe you've seen them, maybe not. If you've ever been in an airport, they have doggy rest areas. Most of them do. So if your dog needs to use the restroom, if they just want to go in there, play with their toys, kind of be out and out of their carrier, they're allowed to. So once you get past TSA, they're able to go in that area and just relax. And it's sort of like their own little like area. So that was really helpful. We took Maverick in there. He didn't do too much in there, but he definitely sniffed around and was able to stretch his legs from being in his pet carrier for almost 3 or 4 hours. Okay, and one of the things that I was worried about was TSA. I never went through TSA with a pet before, but it was so easy. It was such a breeze. So really how it works is you go through TSA like normal. They scan everything, but when they see that you have a pet, they bring your pet off to the side. Somebody puts on gloves and they basically check him to make sure that he's safe, that he's not smuggling drugs or anything like that. And it was really a 5-minute process, if that. And they just checked him, made sure he was good. And the TSA ladies loved him. There was ladies who were coming from other lines just to come see him, and Maverick is a people person, so he was just enjoying all of the attention. But when your dog goes through TSA, it's normally a pretty simple process. It shouldn't take long at all. And so once you've done all of that, that's it. Your dog has successfully gone through the entire airport process and made it through the flight, and then you've landed. And from there, you're able to enjoy whatever country you have gone to with your dog. It's a pretty simple process. You just have to make sure that you have all the required paperwork and make sure that your dog is as comfortable as possible when getting on an airplane. Thank you for watching the video. If you are already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, comment, turn on the bell notification as well too, because we are definitely bringing you more videos very, very soon. And thank you for watching the video.